The good news is that over 40,000 young Democrats and progressives have signed up for a Run for Something to potentially run for elected office this cycle. I'm Allie 202, and today we are doing our Serotonin Sandwich, where I tell you one piece of good news, one piece of bad news, and one positive thing you can do to fight fascism right now. The goal of this series is to deliver news to you in a way that does not shut down your nervous system. The good news will retain your faith in humanity, the bad news will keep you honest about the state of the world right now, and the action item at the end will keep you materially involved in resisting the Trump administration. Today's three stories are: number one, the record-breaking interest from young people in running for public office; number two, NYU withholding the diploma of a student that gave a pro-Palestine graduation speech; and number three, the what you can do. I've created an email template so that you can very easily reach out to NYU, letting them know they should release that student's diploma. Okay, let's jump right into the good news. We're going to start by talking about the organization Run for Something, which provides material and logistical support to young people who are interested in running for public office. Specifically, since the election of Donald Trump, nearly 40,000 people have reached out with interest in running for elected office. This is blowing past numbers out of the water. In the entire time that Run for Something has existed as an organization, they've gotten about 200,000 aspiring leaders signing up, which averages out to about 20,000 people a year. So we've already seen double that in just the time since the election. We're not even all the way through May. Specifically, major spikes in signups came after Trump's inauguration, after Elon Musk's announcement cutting federal workers, and after Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced that he would support the GOP's spending bill. So basically what we can take from this is that when something scary is happening in the government, young people are demonstrating material interest in running for the elected office positions that they can then use to fix those messes. Run for Something actually has 5 alumni that are officially in Congress, and they've won over 1,500 races across 49 states. They've had a lot of political victories. I actually had a chance to interview their founder, Amanda Littman, really recently on my Instagram, and I'll talk about that in a second. But first, I want to flag another piece of good news, that Bernie Sanders is beginning a partnership with Run for Something to train candidates as well. He specifically has attracted more than 5,000 people who've signed up through his operation to explore campaigns. When people under the age of 40 sign up, they're being connected with Run for Something because they focus on younger candidates, but people over the age of 40 who sign up through Bernie's operation get connected to organizations like Contest Every Race and National Democratic Training Committee. You may know that Bernie and AOC have been running the Fighting Oligarchy tour. They're bringing out humongous crowds all over the nation, and they say they want to make sure that they're not just going into these spaces and holding rallies and then disappearing. We're not just asking people to run for office. We're giving them the tools they actually need to do it. Following up with the folks that are coming to rallies and making sure that they have the support they need to be able to get into positions where they can actually invoke change. If you're wondering what programs like this look like, for example, candidates will be provided resources and trainings of how to file, how to hire a staff for their campaign, how to set fundraising deadlines for themselves, and communications goals. Basically, they're given all of the behind-the-scenes support about how to run a successful campaign. As of right now, Run for Something currently only endorses Democratic candidates, but they're considering opening that up to independents as well, as a growing number of Democrats and liberal strategists are considering whether shedding the party label could help some candidates in battleground and red states, because as we've talked about on this channel before, Democrats have horrifically low approval ratings right now. While we're on the topic of organizations giving young people support to run effective campaigns, I want to flag another organization called Emerge. I had the opportunity to meet their leadership recently, and they're extremely impressive. They specifically work with women who are running for office. This year, they're offering something called the Opposition Playbook, where they're essentially hosting a series of interest webinars. I'm signed up for the one on Tuesday, May 20th, and I highly recommend that you join me. I've dropped the link to this page in the description where you can RSVP to all these different webinars. They're all free and 1 hour long, and they help you consider questions like, should I run for office? What type of office would I potentially want to run for? How should I solidify my networks, determine my goals, and how do I walk away with a plan for the groundwork for a future run? Even if you are just interested in, say, local school board, if you are a left-leaning woman who's interested in running for something, I highly recommend signing up for one of these webinars. Again, the link to signups is in the description of this video. I think that right now it's very easy to get paralyzed by the news and fearful that the people around us aren't doing enough, that we all collectively aren't going to be able to overcome the Trump administration and fascism and etc. But I think that numbers like these, the 40,000 signups since the election, are just such a strong indicator of the grit that young people have right now and the genuine intention to put all our energy towards combating this current administration. So I really hope that this good news section made you feel hopeful, and that if you've ever considered running for office, or even, just had the fleeting thought that you consider signing up for Emerge or Run for Something and getting in contact with someone who can help you think through some of the initial questions you may be asking yourself. Okay, we're going to jump into today's bad news, which is that NYU is withholding the diploma of a student who denounced what this headline calls the war in Gaza, what he called the genocide in Gaza, during his graduation speech. The moral of the story is that a student named Logan Rozos, who notably was named on Teen Vogue's 20 Under 20 list of LGBTQ young people in media and activism in 2020, gave a speech where he said he intended to speak for all people of conscience, all people who feel the moral injury of the atrocity in Gaza. He specifically referred to it as a genocide and said that the US is politically and militarily at fault. Cheers erupted from the crowd when he first mentioned Gaza, and additionally, some NYU faculty can be seen in the background of the video briefly applauding behind him, but NYU did not have a very positive reaction to it. There's a statement that the school has put out that reads, NYU strongly denounces his choice to misuse his role as student speaker. They say he lied about the speech he was going to deliver and violated the commitment he made to comply with our rules. I don't doubt that. I imagine if he had told them outright he planned to speak about Palestine, they probably would have rejected his opportunity to be a speaker. But it also says NYU is deeply sorry that the audience was subjected to these remarks and that this moment was stolen by someone who abused a privilege that was conferred upon him. We are so sorry you were subjected to listening to someone say like 2 sentences about Gaza is really, really gutsy by NYU. That being said, we can't be super surprised. Last year, NYU started 180 plus disciplinary cases against their own students who were pro-Palestine protesters on campus. And according to reporting from The Intercept, they actually also sort of coerced law students, specifically 31 pro-Palestine law students, to sign away their right to protest in exchange for being allowed to go back to school and take their finals. So they were like, we're not going to let you take your law exams unless you sign away your rights here, which obviously is really skeevy. Rozos' student biography is no longer available on his school's website, like the sub-school within NYU that he's a part of. And y'all, his speech was not even that out there. I'm gonna insert a clip of it here.
I've been freaking out a lot about this speech, honestly. As I search my heart today in addressing you all, my moral and political commitments guide me to say that the only thing that is appropriate to say in this time and to a group this large is a recognition of the atrocities currently happening in Palestine. I want to say that the genocide currently occurring is supported politically and militarily by the United States, is paid for by our tax dollars, and has been live streamed to our phones for the past 18 months. And I want to say that I condemn this genocide and complicity in this genocide. Thank you to the class of 2025, and congratulations.
So as you saw, that speech was significantly less salacious than it could have been. I mean, what sticks out to me is that he didn't even specifically criticize NYU. He could have said, NYU, you've treated your pro-Palestine students so poorly. Instead, he just spoke broadly about the United States, but obviously he's still facing these penalties from the university. It's also worth noting that earlier this year, Trump's anti-Semitism task force said it would visit NYU and 9 other universities. And in April, the former head of Doctors Without Borders alleged that there was a climate of fear at NYU and other universities after NYU canceled a lecture she was set to give. Specifically, officials at NYU's medical center told her that references she had in her presentation to Trump's cuts to foreign aid could be seen as anti-government and anti-Semitic. As we know, a lot of universities are afraid of the Trump administration right now. And it's very important for us to pressure these universities to fight back against the Trump administration's attempts to suppress free speech and free thought on college campuses. Which brings us to the What Can You Do section for today's video. We are going to be emailing the NYU spokesperson named John Beckman, who released this statement about the choice to withhold Rozos' diploma, and I have written out an email template that I have attached in the description below. You can feel free to just copy paste it into your own email. I've also in the description put the email of John Beckman that you're sending this to. They do have a phone number that they attached, 212-998-6848. You can feel free to call John Beckman, but I know that emailing is a lot easier for a lot of us. So I wrote, Dear John Beckman. Oh, I wrote that wrong. I wrote, Dear John Beckman, I'm writing with regards to NYU's decision to withhold Rozos' diploma. I'm sincerely disappointed in this decision and NYU's apparent capitulation to the Trump administration's war on free speech and dissuasion of free thought on college campuses. I urge you to issue Rozos' diploma. Concise, simple, gets the point across. Thank you, Allie O'Brien. You would insert your name there. You can write your own email if you want, but feel free to just copy paste this into your own browser and send off the email, and that will be your quick action item for the day. All right, y'all, you're the best. That's today's episode. Again, my goal is to be posting these every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on both Substack and YouTube. Please leave a like if this was helpful to you, and feel free to send it to a friend. I will see you all in the next episode.